Hello and welcome to the Louise Elizabeth podcast, formerly known as the Happy Lifestyles podcast. Head over to episode 35 if you would love to learn more about the rebrand. This space is a space for me to talk about anything relating to holistic health living, mind, body, lifestyle, spirit, business, and so much more. In my opinion, health is a whole lifestyle, not just one thing that we work on. I will be getting transparent with you, sharing information that I have learned that has supported me and things that I'm currently learning and working on myself. Living a happy and holistic life has changed my world, and I hope to inspire you to do the same or give you the tools and resources that you can take away into your own life. I am a 620-hour registered yoga teacher. I am a registered holistic nutritionist and a professional network marketer in the wellness industry. Thank you for being here. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hello, friends. I'm super excited about this episode. Okay, so I actually need to pre-frame that if it sounds like I'm emotionally charged at any point in this episode, that is the truth. I am a little emotionally charged behind this episode, and being super transparent with you. The reason why is because I saw a post on the weekend, and honestly, it just really upset me, and it really poked some buttons for me. And the reason it upset me is because, just the picture. So I'm going to describe the picture to you in a moment, but I just do want to pre-frame that if I seem emotionally charged, that is why. Okay, so let's get into it. Episode 51. I think it's 51. Oh my God, I'm so bad at remembering the numbers, and I always do this, and I should really ideally check before I start recording, but 51. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to call it today, and if you see the title and you clicked this, then you probably already know what I've decided to call it. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today, so what it was that emotionally charged me, being super transparent. So I saw this post on Facebook, actually, and it was a picture from either a textbook or this woman's course. And essentially what it was is two cartoon humans. One was skinny and one was not skinny. And inside the cartoon of the skinny person, it had just fruit, vegetables, and legumes in the photo. And then the photo of the non-skinny person did have like pastries and sugars and things like that, but also had meat and eggs and things. And so first off, there was so much about this photo that was inaccurate, implying that if you eat fruit, vegetables, and legumes only, you'll be skinny, and that, eggs and meat, among the other things, but eggs and meat will also make you fat. And so, as you can imagine, it emotionally charged me a little bit. But on top of that, when looking at this photo, what really just didn't simmer well for me was the fact that we're also implying that, one, diet is the only factor in the shape of our bodies, and two, that eating all these things makes you skinny, and eating all these things doesn't make you skinny. So for me to see this photo and for it to have come from, I believe, a health coaching or nutrition coaching or something like that, I'm not really sure. I'm not going to lie, I did engage with the post in the comments, and the more I chatted back and forth with this person in the comments, the more I just realized that, this person and I weren't meant to be friends on Facebook. So I actually just deleted her off Facebook because, the more the back and forth went, the more I was like really feeling all sorts of feelings that this person was going to potentially be helping people, but felt comfortable posting a picture like this. So anyway, so I'm not sure if it was from a health coaching or nutrition coaching or something like that. Whatever it was from. But seeing that photo triggered so many things in me. One, it just the protector in me, the person who used to be bullied in me, just got so upset because I saw this photo as bullying. Now, and the reason I saw it as bullying is, one, I really just saw it as body shaming, just having those pictures and those foods in the two different body shapes. I just can't believe that's still something we're teaching in 2022. And then I also saw the issue of, there's so many things that run deep with why we are the shape that we are, which is kind of where I'll go next. But staying on topic with food, is that for some people who have a really complicated relationship with food, it could be from so many factors. It could be from like actual physical, sexual, mental trauma. It could be from how they were raised. Some children don't know any different. Like, they're born into this household that, for whatever reason, maybe it's a lack of education, maybe it's a lack of funds, because as much as it's okay, just buy some fruit and veggies, it's not expensive. It's not that expensive. Like, literally having this conversation with my partner this morning, eating healthy is a privilege. Eating or not that grass-fed really has meaning to it anymore, but eating, what's the word? Regenerative farmed animals is a privilege. Eating local is a privilege. Like, eating really good, high quality sourdough bread is a privilege. It's $8 versus maybe like $2 of like the shitty white bread. But so that's a privilege. So some kids are born into families where they don't have that privilege. They just don't have the funds to. They're lucky to even be able to afford the $2 white bread. So some people are just born into these situations where they have no choice to eat the foods that they eat. So that could contribute the trauma, like I mentioned. There could be a physical addiction to certain foods, and it's all easier said than done. Well, just stop eating the sugar. If you've ever had a sugar addiction, and if you have a sugar addiction, you most likely have a candida overgrowth, and a candida overgrowth are the unhealthy bacteria. Try cutting sugar out cold turkey. Then give me a phone call and let me know how you go, because I would love to know, because I promise you will feel worse. I promise you your body is going to scream at you for more sugar. It's like people who drink coffee every day. I have 1 cup of coffee every day, and if I skip a day, I will have a headache. So I know that impacts my body. And that being said, I'm going to feel worse before I feel better if I just go cold turkey with coffee. And that's from 1 cup. For me, I don't understand how some people could do like 7 cups of coffee a day. It's unreal to me. But so anyway, it could be like a physical addiction. And again, it's all easier said than done. Well, just quit. Like, it's not that easy to just quit these things. So this photo that had these pictures, and to me, knowing like how deep the reason why someone eats the way they eat runs, everything about this photo screams so much wrong to me. And, the other thing about the photo that really kind of cranked my, sounding super Canadian saying this, that really cranked my nuts. Okay, so total side story that has nothing to do with this, is this one time we went and saw this comedian that was saying when Canadians fight, they give insults on like household things that you'll do, like, oh, I'll polish your car, or I'll check what's under your hood, bud. Like, that's how Canadians fight. So anyway, I thought that was funny, but that has nothing to do with today's episode. But that's why I was giggling while I was saying that. But the other thing about this photo that really cranked me, and you can go back and listen to episode 12, where it's actually probably one of my favorite episodes, but episode 12, not judging others with different eating habits, I dive more into it. But really, like, we've become this society, and I shouldn't say society, but the health industry, what they've painted is that smoothies and salad is what's healthy, and that's that. Like, if you look at pictures of like really like, think of like typical like photo shoots for people who are trying to get photos for their health website or like a health thing, it's always smoothies. Like, smoothies all over the place. And I'm not saying smoothies aren't healthy. I'm just saying smoothies aren't the definition of healthy, and neither is a salad. What I see is healthy, and this is why, like, on my own website, I don't have any photos of food, because it looks different to each and every human. To me, what's healthy is a balance between fats, protein, and carbohydrates. And when you just have a smoothie or just have a salad, 99% of the time, there's no balance between the three. And so, or you can't really show it in a smoothie anyway, because it's all blended up. And in a salad, most of the time, it's missing the items. So the point is eating smoothies, eating salads isn't necessarily healthy and going to make you skinny. But again, it's not necessarily unhealthy and going to make you fat either. So that being said, I know people who eat a lot of pastries, who eat a lot of sugar, who eat a lot of processed foods, and who are skinny because they do other things as well. And just going to stay on food topic for now. And, I know people who eat what, that picture implied and who aren't super duper skinny because of their metabolism, because of their stress levels, because of their exercise routine. Like there's so many things that contribute to the body shape. So really this whole idea that salads make you healthy and smoothies make you healthy is just like so far from reality. And I'm not going to pretend like I didn't used to have smoothies as a meal. Now, I will say I never used to eat breakfast. And the transition from me not eating breakfast was to have a smoothie for breakfast, which in my opinion is better than nothing. And then the more and more I got into a routine with food, the more and more I started to tune into my body and how it feels, what my body needs, also based on my lifestyle. I just realized smoothies are not a reliable, sustainable breakfast or lunch for me. And that being said, same with salads, like a bunch of vegetables and fruit for lunch is just not sustainable for me. Like I need other things in my body. So it's just this picture, and even like the health industry, I guess accidentally this podcast is turning into a bit of a tangent, but I did pre-frame that it was emotionally charged. It's just so backwards that we're just going to put smoothies and salads and that's what makes you skinny and that's what makes you healthy, and demonize things like meat, or forgetting about the other aspects of health that contribute to our body shape and our overall health. So this picture, what I found was so wrong about it was that, and then taking it away from the food topic, that was just one part of it. Health is a multi-umbrella stem thing. So there's multiple stems to it. So what I mean by this is, yes, what you eat contributes to your health or your body shape, but also how you move your body. So do you move your body too much? Do you not move your body enough? Do you not move your body in a wide variety of different exercises? Because in theory, especially women, we should be, I shouldn't say should, but in theory, especially women, ideally, we are doing different forms of exercise. So we're mixing it up with high intensity, cardio based. We're adding in some sort of strength training in there. We're doing some sort of range of motion, flexibility, mobility type of movement as well. And then on top of all of that, we're actually enjoying ourselves when we're exercising. And on top of all of that, if we're already have fatigued adrenals, we need to be really, really, really mindful. And this applies to men as well, but we need to be really mindful that we're not over exercising. If we're exercising and we're feeling more exhausted, then we're not exercising in a way that's actually healthy for our body, that's actually contributing to our overall health, that's having a positive impact on our body. It's actually having a negative impact on our body. So even that picture, bringing it to like the exercise thing, implying that people that do exercise are healthy and skinny and people who don't exercise are unhealthy and fat, is again just like this super black and white statement, and that's not even close to the reality of it. So that's the other reason why the picture really set me off. Another reason why is stress. So I've talked about it I have talked about it in past episodes. I talk about so many things. Sometimes it's hard to know, was it on the podcast episode or am I doing anyway. So yeah, our stress levels. So our stress levels impact our blood sugar levels, our insulin levels. They impact our cortisol levels. And so there's so much to stress that really impacts the shape of our body, our overall health, how we feel, how energized we are, how many nutrients we're eating up in our body, how many nutrients are staying in our body. If you're really stressed and you're over exercising, most likely you are low in nutrients because stress eats up a lot of antioxidants. And when you exercise, it causes oxidative stress in your body. And oxidative stress need antioxidants to fight off the effects of oxidative stress in our body. So if we have none because we're stressed and our adrenals, all that whole system has eaten up all the antioxidants, all of a sudden we just have all this extra oxidative stress in our bodies, which impacts our health in a not positive way. And then going back to that ridiculous picture I keep coming back to, is going to impact the shape of our bodies as well. And some people, when they are overstressed, they lose a lot of weight. And some people, when they are overstressed, they gain a lot of weight. So it really is all super subjective in each and every person. So a photo to just paint these two pictures is just so inaccurate on that front as well. And then coming into the last two things that I want to talk about first are our emotions. And so this kind of ties into your stress levels as well. If you're unhappy and you're sad and you're angry and you're frustrated all the time, first off, we're allowed to experience those things as humans. That's fine. The part where it impacts our health in a way that's not useful is where we are literally simmering in those thoughts and we're simmering in those feelings, and we just let it get to us more than it needs to, and we just let it bother us more than it needs to, and really just going down that negative spiral, really, it makes a huge difference. So just keep in mind that how you feel in the world and how you feel in your inner world, and just overall your happiness levels, your joy levels, it really does impact your health as well going into the stress response. Your brain and your thoughts and your emotions are so closely tied together, and that is so closely tied to your stress response. And I actually did the Stressed Woman Masterclass, uploaded as a podcast episode as well, and I dive more into that there. But that impacts your health as well, and it spirals from there. So again, back to that ridiculous picture, the thing that picture doesn't depict is how does someone feel? And, it's super common for people who are sad or upset or angry or trying to process those kind of more looked at negative emotions. They tend to eat more. They tend to, not always. I mean, some people, when they're really stressed, they just don't eat at all, because you can't be in your rest and digest and your stress response. So when you're in your stress response, you just don't feel hungry because your body's not cueing you to eat food. So again, that could impact if we're skinny or not skinny. And then again, some people, when they have those things, or like a big unfortunate life events happened, a lot of people be like, oh, I just want to eat like a tub of ice cream, or I just want some chocolate, whatever it is, right? So, and that will impact the shape of our bodies. So our emotions as well. And then the last thing is our lifestyle, how we live our lives. The other thing that picture doesn't take into account is the overall life that we live, and some people work a job where they have to sit at their desks for 8 to 9 hours a day or 10 hours a day. They have to drive, 30 to 60 minutes one way to get to their job. They are lucky if they get to take their full hour lunch or 30-minute lunch. They get home and they're exhausted, not because they were like physically doing anything, because they were mentally using their brains all day for their jobs. And then maybe on top of that, they were super unhappy at their jobs all day. And that really impacts them and the shape of their body and how they feel and all of those things, right? So on that note, there's some people whose jobs are really physical and they're outside all day and they're using their hands and their arms, and maybe to look at, they look a little skinnier because they have a more physically demanding job. But if we were to take a closer look at what they're eating, their happiness levels, their exercise levels, their stress response, all those things, take some blood work and see what's going on nutrition wise, like nutrient wise in their body. Maybe when we dig deeper, they don't look so healthy on the inside, right? And so it's so interesting that a photo like that still exists to me in 2022, when it's not so black and white when it comes to our health, and it comes to our body shape, and it comes to our overall feeling, and it comes to our overall nutrient level in our bodies, and how we feel in the world, and how we look in the world, and how we show up in the world. There's so many factors. And the factors aren't so much like, if you do this, you're skinny, and if you do this, you're not skinny. It can literally go back and forth. If you do this, maybe you will become skinny. And if you don't do this, maybe you won't become skinny. Yuki's barking at noises upstairs. Sorry if you can hear that. So a photo like this, and not even just the photo, like really sometimes, as much as I love the health industry and what it can do for people and supporting people and really just being there as a support blanket and the tools and everything to help you reach your goals, it's just, there's no one thing, a few things. One, there's no one thing that you do that is going to directly make you and just specifically on weight loss, make you skinny or not skinny. It's a multitude. It's multiple things. There we go. Multiple things that impact how you look and feel. And then if we bring it into a health sense and your overall health, so your energy levels, your gut health, so how you feel in your abdomen, how you feel in your mind, like the clarity that you feel, just the overall emotional sense that you feel, the energy that you have to move your body, like that all comes down to everything. It's not just one aspect. It's not just how you eat is going to impact all those things. It's not just how you exercise is going to impact all those things, or just the mindfulness work, or just the emotional work, or just the stress management. It is literally all of it. And if you are being drawn to a coach or a nutritionist or a program or something along those lines to support you in your own health goals, if you reach out to someone and they really start to imply or use language that this is the way and this is the only way, and not so much of, hey, like this is the overall look on your life, here are some things to maybe consider in all these aspects, and take a really umbrella approach essentially, then I would suggest to say, thank you very much, but I don't think that this is going to be a good fit. And find someone who brings a more holistic umbrella to your health. And holistic is mind, body, soul, or soul doesn't work with you. You can say values or lifestyle. So look at your everything that you do in your life, not just one aspect, and just anchoring in on that one thing, because that one thing isn't what's going to positively or negatively impact you. Yes, one little change can make a big difference, but for 99.999999999% of people, it's a whole multitude of things. And when I think about my own journey, so my Fundamental Women's Hormones course is 13 years of my own journey into a course. And when I talk about my own journey with PMS and my own journey of learning to love myself and feeling energized and being 33 years old and having the most energy and feeling the strongest I've ever felt in my entire life, it's a multitude of things. It was just, I started with super, super unconsciously started with one aspect of my life, and that rippled into other aspects, and then it all clicked. And once I started doing the lifestyle, the food, the exercise, the mindfulness side, the being aware of my stress, being aware of my surroundings, setting boundaries, like literally all of the things, that is when I felt like I landed at home in my body. That's where I felt comfortable in my body. That's where I literally don't need to think about what I'm eating, because I just know I'm eating food that makes me feel good, because I know how I feel and I understand food. And it took so long to get to that point where even 5 years ago, like I would beat myself up about you had a bun with that sausage, or well, back then it would have been those disgusting plant-based sausages. Sorry if that was a little too blunt, but once I started reading the ingredients on those, and also just thinking about how they made me feel when I ate them, I was like, why am I eating these? Like, this is just so far from good for me. But anyway, I would beat myself up over it, and it would just like be a big deal. And I had this like the salad is healthy and the smoothie is healthy perspective before I started school. I'm not kidding. Like, I was in that. So I do understand how people are there, because that's just what it's painted. Like, when you look at the health industry from the outside and you don't study it in a holistic sense, and you don't like really study it down to the basics and roots of it, it is easy to just be like, well, yeah, salads and smoothies are healthy. Right? When that's not the truth. I'm not saying salads and smoothies, again, aren't healthy. It's just not the picture of healthy. So it's a whole umbrella of things. And like when I really learned to embrace that, and I learned that bringing in all aspects of life into my own journey, that is where like really the magic happened, where all my symptoms went away. For me, my symptoms were PMS. I was a few years ago, actually, when I did my own case study for myself, I was really stressed. That was actually right when the pandemic started, and just multiple things that kind of happened. I was in school and just all these things. And so my health deteriorated in the sense that like my cramps came back with a vengeance. And For my on the female cycle side of things, it was my cramps came back with a vengeance, and I was just like really on edge. I was kind of back to like early 20s Louise, who was like a loose cannon. I felt like I was going to explode at any moment. Like I really was just like exhausted. I felt like I could sleep all day, and I'm that person, like I like my sleep, but I just like my 8 hours, and then I like to get up and do things. Like I don't really enjoy sleeping a lot. I just enjoy quality sleep, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I did my own case study for school, and it was just like just one or two little tweaks in a couple different areas made a huge difference. But it wasn't one specific thing that I did that made everything better. It was multiple things. So I guess I still don't know what I'm going to call this episode. I'm probably going to have to sit and reflect on it as I edit it, but I just really want to remind you that smoothies and salads doesn't mean healthy, but it also doesn't mean unhealthy. And meat and eggs doesn't mean healthy, but it doesn't mean unhealthy. It all comes down to quality, first off, with food. And then overall, also the image of health isn't necessarily skinny or not skinny, right? There's some people who will always have extra curves on them, no matter how healthy they are or how balanced they are. It's just their DNA, it's their body shape, it's the household they grew up in, it's what their grandparents ate, it's what their great grandparents ate. Like it's so deep, and it runs onto so many different levels. So this idea that skinny or thin is what is healthy. And that being said, I'm not saying it isn't healthy either, right? There's just no one picture or size or diet or exercise routine or look or body shape or whatever that is technically healthy because it is so bio-individual. It is so unique to each and every human, and it is so unique to each and every person's feelings, the things they love to do, the values that they find important, and how they love to spend their time. So hopefully my emotional charge behind this episode didn't quite show up as much. Obviously this picture really just stirred something in me, and I had been thinking about doing a podcast episode. Funny enough, I wanted to call it like Smoothies Doesn't Mean Healthy. And actually maybe there's the name right there, but I just wasn't sure like how to articulate what I wanted to articulate or exactly what I wanted to articulate. But then seeing that picture, it got really clear to me what I did want to articulate. And essentially in 26 minutes, what I've been trying to say, if you haven't gotten it already, there isn't one picture or one thing or one eating style that is healthy. It's so unique to each person. And I hope that you listening to this, you can really feel that and embody it in your own life and trust that that is the truth. And if someone tries to tell you otherwise, then you can say no thank you, and just really believe and trust in yourself and how you feel. Like your body is going to send you symptoms if something is unbalanced. If you're tired sometimes, that's fine. That comes and goes. But if you're constantly fatigued, that is something to be mindful of. If you constantly get bloated after eating, that's something to be mindful of. If you constantly have gas after eating, that's something to be mindful of. Like if it's sometimes you have gas, that's a little bit different. It might be one or two little things that you eat, or maybe you just happen to be extra stressed that time. But the things that show up constantly and overly, the symptoms, the signals, the feelings, like if you really struggle to find happiness and be grounded, like it's so many possible things, and really don't ignore those clues, and don't let someone tell you there's only one way to work through those clues. If someone has something that worked really well for them, then you can take their advice and try it on for size. But if it feels like it doesn't fit, then you don't have to buy into it, right? You could try something else. You can put on something different. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I, as always, would love feedback. Feel free to privately message me. I know some of you do, and I really, really, really appreciate the messages. Sometimes it feels like you're talking to yourself. I do appreciate the messages. I do appreciate the feedback. If you could take some time to tag this episode in your stories, if you found some value behind it, or if you really resonate or you agree with it, or you feel like, you know what, I just know there's someone out there who needs to hear this, I would be so, so, so grateful. And wherever you are in the world, have a beautiful day. Sending you lots of love, and talk soon.